The Vexithara had a name that translated roughly to soul render in most galactic languages, though no translation could capture the true horror those syllables conveyed. Standing 12 feet tall with obsidian carapaces that could deflect plasma, fire, razor-sharp appendages that could slice through titanium, and compound eyes that perceived across 17 different spectrums, they were evolution's perfect killing machine. For 3,000 years they had carved a bloody path across the galaxy. Entire civilizations had crumbled before their advance. The proud Zelanti Empire, with their quantum shields and temporal weapons, had lasted exactly 47 standard hours. The hive-mind collective of Sarn, numbering in the trillions, had been methodically exterminated over the course of a decade. Even the ancient keepers, beings of pure energy, who had transcended physical form eons ago, had retreated to the far reaches of the galactic rim rather than face the Vexithara in open conflict. So when the Vexithara battle fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, every species in the galaxy held its breath. Humanity had been the newest members of the Galactic Council, admitted only 50 years prior after their surprisingly rapid technological advancement. They were considered promising but fragile, another young race that would likely be snuffed out before reaching their potential. Admiral Kethvar had led the Vexithara fleet for over 2 centuries. He had personally overseen the extinction of 43 species. As he gazed at the small blue-green world that housed the humans, he felt the familiar stirring of anticipation. The hunt would begin soon. The human fleet was pathetically small, barely 200 vessels against his armada of 5,000. Their technology, while innovative, was centuries behind Vexithara capabilities. Their plasma cannons couldn't penetrate Vexithara armor. Their shields wouldn't last minutes under sustained fire. This would be over quickly. But Admiral Kethvar was methodical. He had not survived this long by taking unnecessary risks. He sent a single ship forward to scan the human defenses, to catalog their weaknesses, to prepare for the inevitable slaughter. The scout ship, Death's Whisper, approached the third planet slowly. Its sensors probed every satellite, every space station, every military installation. The data was confusing. The humans had weapons, yes, but they seemed almost quaint. Kinetic projectiles, chemical explosives, primitive nuclear warheads that couldn't crack a Vexithara egg sac. But then something unexpected happened. A small human vessel approached Death's Whisper. It was unarmed. Scanners confirmed no weapon systems, no shields, barely enough power to maintain life support. It transmitted a message in broken Vexithara dialect. "We want talk, please." Captain Zethmore of Death's Whisper was intrigued despite himself. In 3 millennia, no species had ever approached a Vexithara vessel without hostile intent. None had ever asked to talk. The concept was alien to them. What could there be to discuss? They were predators. Humans were prey. The natural order was simple. Still, curiosity, that dangerous trait that had driven the Vexithara to explore beyond their homeworld in the first place, compelled him to allow the human ship to dock. The human delegation was led by a female in what appeared to be a military uniform. Behind her stood 2 others, a male in similar attire and oddly a small human child who couldn't have been more than 6 Earth years old. The child clutched a worn stuffed animal and stared up at the towering Vexithara with wide, fearless eyes. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force," the female said, her voice steady despite standing before creatures that had turned entire star systems into graveyards. "This is General Martinez, and this..." She placed a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. "Is Emma Martinez, the general's daughter." Captain Zethmore's translator struggled with the emotional nuances. In her voice, protectiveness, love, determination tinged with desperation. These were not concepts the Vexithara understood well. "You have come to surrender your world," Captain Zethmore stated. It wasn't a question. In his experience, when prey approached predators, it was always to offer submission in hopes of a quicker death. Admiral Chen's expression hardened. "No, we've come to ask you a question." This was unprecedented. Captain Zethmore's warriors shifted restlessly, their weapon arms twitching. but his curiosity held him still. "Why?" Admiral Chen asked simply. "Why do you kill?" The question struck Captain Zethmore like a physical blow. Why? The question made no sense. They killed because they were Vexithara. Because they could. Because it was their nature. To ask why a Vexithara killed was like asking why a star burned. "We are apex predators," he finally answered. "It is what we do." "But why?" the child, Emma, asked, her small voice carrying, clearly in the chamber's silence. She stepped forward, ignoring the adult's attempts to hold her back. "My kitty was a predator too, but she was also my friend. She protected me from the bad dogs. She purred when I was sad." Captain Zethmore stared down at this tiny human. She was so small, so fragile. He could end her existence with the slightest gesture, and yet she showed no fear as she approached him, her stuffed animal tucked under one arm. "Are you sad?" Emma asked, tilting her head. "Is that why you hurt people? Because you're sad and scared?" Something unprecedented happened in Captain Zethmore's mind. For just a moment he saw himself through this child's eyes. Not as a magnificent predator, but as something to be pitied. Something that lashed out at the universe because it knew no other way to exist. He began, then stopped. The words wouldn't come. Emma reached into her pocket and pulled out a small wrapped object. "My mom made cookies before she went away. Would you like one? They're chocolate chip. Cookies always make me feel better when I'm scared." She held up the small package to the towering alien warrior, and in that moment something broke inside Captain Zethmore. The certainty that had driven him for centuries cracked like ice in spring thaw. No one had ever offered him kindness before. No one had ever seen his pain, his loneliness, his fear that perhaps there was nothing more to existence than endless killing. This child, this fragile, breakable child, was offering comfort to the monster who had come to destroy her world. Captain Zethmore slowly, carefully knelt down until he was eye level with Emma. His massive form, designed to inspire terror, folded itself into a position of supplication. "Friend," Emma whispered, reaching out to gently touch one of his obsidian claws. And for the first time in 3,000 years of conquest, a Vexithara warrior bowed his head and wept. The war ended not with plasma fire and screaming metal, but with a child's whispered word. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity, now known as the species that taught the universe's deadliest predator how to be gentle. The Vexithara still remembered how to hunt, but now they also remembered how to protect, how to nurture, how to be friends. All because a child offered cookies to a monster and saw someone worth saving.